What's going on, man? Y'all already know who it is, man. It's the one and only Black Superman coming at y'all with another powerful video, yo. I know y'all just seen that. You can get that powerful supplement, Virility, at superhumanlabs.store. Once again, that's superhumanlabs.store, guys. It's going to help you with your all of that sex drive, muscle, building muscle, growth, strength, all that good stuff, man. A powerful supplement. So I highly recommend that you guys go ahead and check that out, man, and get it popping. I know you see the title, man. I know that you guys see the title, and the title is pretty much talking about what? Masturbation, addiction, symptoms. Now, listen, this is a big deal. I mean, this is a huge thing, man. A big thing that I think a lot of people are overlooking or even kind of. I want to just adjust this real quick, y'all, just to make sure that we good money. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. So anyway, yeah, masturbation addiction is a serious thing, guys. And y'all know I like to touch on all the main things. I do this for my men. All right. It's Black Superman. I help my men increase testosterone levels naturally, also lower the noticeability of gyno, and I also help my men transform their bodies into a leaner, more muscular physique. We about to get into this. All right. So I want to let y'all know real quick. This is a live shooting of this video. So feel free to comment in the chat if you want to even hop on the video with me and express some feelings, questions, or even things that you can relate to in this live video stream. Just let me know in the chat, and I'll definitely put that link in the chat so you can hop on the video with me, man. Happy to start this video, guys. This is going to be a good one. And as you can see in the title, it is masturbation addiction symptoms. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started, man. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the first one. Go ahead and shoot me a holler in the chat, y'all. Also throw some likes on this video so we can get this video around the world, man, and get it circulating for all the guys that may be dealing with this, guys. All right. So the first tip, not even tip, but symptom I want to go into is going to be masturbation interrupting personal and professional life. Guys, if your fapping is getting in the way of you living your professional life, you understand? Even your personal life. So I mean getting in the way of your relationships. If you're masturbating a lot, if you're doing it frequently, I'm gonna go over more symptoms in this video, but it could really get in the way of your relationships, your friendships. If you find yourself, supposed to be going to link with one of your friends, but now you at the crib and you're like, nah, I think I just want to masturbate. I think I just want to beat off right now and enjoy that pleasure. I need this dopamine boost just for me to even be able to go and hang out with a friend. Then I'm here to tell you, my brother, you may be dealing with masturbation addiction. All right. I also want to say this too, before I even go into all of the symptoms. It's nothing to be super duper ashamed about. All right. Masturbation is a normal thing. Us having sexual urges as men is very normal. All right. It's called virility. All right. If you got sexual urges like that, it's normal. All right. You're a man and you have sexual urges. It's powerful. It's meant for a powerful purpose. So I don't want anybody on here to feel shameful, ashamed, or to feel bad if you do have a masturbation addiction. All right. But that's the first symptom. If you find yourself, pretty much you're just having issues in your personal and professional life. Like you're supposed to be going to work, but you're late for work because you was beating off, you know what I'm saying? Or you just had to keep doing it. You had to let them multiple off. Guys, you may be dealing with a masturbation addiction. And it's something serious. It's not something to be taken lightly. All right. Now, before I go into the next one, I want to also say this. All right. Like I said earlier, masturbation is a normal thing. So I'm not here to crucify. I'm not here to judge or, persecute any man on here that masturbates. All right. It is a normal and healthy thing. But addiction to anything can become super problematic and obviously can control your life. And that's the problem. This is the light that I want to bring to the world, guys, to help all my men that may be in this darkness, because there's so many different things that come with that, with an addiction to masturbation. Just quality of life, a number of things. Like I said, I'm gonna go into it in this video. But look, if y'all find this information resourceful, go ahead and throw a like on the video. And I'm gonna go ahead and get into this next symptom of masturbation addiction. All right. Now, if you can't wait until you get home to masturbate, so literally, like your frequency of masturbation is at that type of level to whereas you can't wait to get home. So you actually in the bathroom at your job and you letting one go. You understand? You rubbing one out. Now, if you can relate to that right now, I'm gonna tell you right now, you more than likely probably do deal with a masturbation addiction, and it's something that you want to get on top of, guys. I'm telling you. If you have been at work and you went to the bathroom and you let one go, clear indication. All right. But it don't matter where you at. It don't matter if you're at home. I mean, not at home, but it don't matter if you're at work, if you're at a friend's house, if you're at a meeting, anything, man. You could be at the park, you could be somewhere with your kids, and you're like, hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom, and you going to let one go. That is a clear indication that you probably deal with masturbation addiction. And with every symptom I say, I just want to be clear on it and I want to make it clear. There's hope for you and you can overcome this. Another thing I want to say about masturbation as well, though it's not a bad thing and it is a normal and healthy thing that men and women do, I want you to understand that when the porn is involved, when you watching porn and you masturbating to it, it's a whole nother ball game. That's when it becomes similar to a drug. All right. There's different studies that actually show that there's correlations and similarities to the dopamine rush that you get from masturbating to porn and drinking alcohol. Okay. It's funny. This is the thing that really catches my attention and it trips me out a bit. Like, you know, when I was younger, I masturbated a lot. I was highly addicted to masturbation for a number of reasons. And I had most of the symptoms that I'm going to talk about in this video. But it's funny that alcohol ended up being my vice of choice as I got older. And it makes total sense. It was probably because of the rate that I was masturbating and those correlations to studies claiming that there's similarities to watching porn and masturbating and the consumption of alcohol and what feelings and dopamine rushes that you get with alcohol. So it makes sense that I gravitated more to alcohol. When I was smoking weed, I just smoked it just because my friends were smoking it and I wanted to be cool too. And, you know, I wasn't really a super duper huge fan of it like that, but I did it anyway. But alcohol was definitely my choice. So it's funny that there's a correlation with that. It makes total sense. But yeah, so now I'm gonna get into the next one, man. Listen, if you're masturbating in response to stress and emotional discomfort, I'm gonna tell you right now, 9 times out of 10, you probably do have a masturbation addiction, guys. If that's your resort, if you had a stressful encounter, if you got into an argument with somebody, your wife, your girlfriend, a friend, something bad happened at work. You know how y'all know what stress is. Y'all know the different types of stresses and stressors that we deal with in life. If you find yourself masturbating right after that and then feeling somewhat of a stress relief, it sounds very likely that you may be dealing with a masturbation addiction. And simply the reason why you probably have it is because of it, because of what masturbation is starting to mean to you and what's being correlated with masturbation. You understand? If you're now going and resorting to letting one go as a response to the stress and the stressors that you're dealing with in life, that's your problem solver now. That's your drug now. A lot of the times, and I like I said, I've smoked weed, a lot of weed back in the day. I've been sober and clean for a while now. I used to drink alcohol a lot. It's been about 7 years now I haven't drank alcohol, and I ain't smoked weed probably in about 9 years, right? 8 or 9. My point is most people when they indulge in these things and it becomes like an addiction, or if they're alcoholic, or if they potheads, or if they smoking mad weed all the time, it's usually for a reason. It's a vice. It's something to help them with life, with stress, with whatever, with comfort, that need for comfort, whatever the case. So once you start to develop that type of relationship with masturbation, it's going to be very addictive because that is your source to stress relief now. So, guys, that's a clear indication that you may have a masturbation addiction, especially when porn is involved because of what I said earlier. The dopamine rush that porn gives you while masturbating and then building that relationship with sex and all that mentally can cause similar boosts in your dopamine levels as alcohol, right? So, it's pretty much like a drug. Like I like to say all the time, guys, addiction to anything is bad or wrong. I love to point that out. So it's not really the thing in a lot of cases. Most times, and 9 times out of 10, it's the addiction. So masturbating isn't bad, but when you become addicted to masturbation, that's when it can become super problematic and really mess you up in the game. All right, guys. So keep that in mind. I'm not judging anybody who does it. Not judging my guys who does it. I do it. I've done it. I'm married and I do it. I've done it and I do it. Simply because it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. You got to grind. You got kids. You got to maneuver. You got to work things out and adapt. It makes total sense. But no judgment here. This is a judgment-free zone on Black Superman's channel. All right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and go into the next tip, guys. And I see I got a comment from CC, and they said an escape. Powerful point, CC, and it makes a lot of sense because yes, it's an escape, especially when porn is involved, because now your mind and everything, you are starting to develop a complete relationship with that porn, and you're mixing that with the self pleasuring, and now you are really escaping from everything. Now you in your own zone and you in your own fantasy level now for however long it take you to do that. Of course, it becomes an escape and a getaway, and that's what makes it more of an addiction. The more and more that it becomes that, especially if you have a highly addictive personality. That's the thing. That's the thing. Some guys, some people, some men can get away with it. Some men can control. Like me, I can control it. I'm just keeping it 100 with y'all. Now I can. I couldn't when I was younger. I'm gonna be honest. It was pretty wild and pretty rough. But I was younger. Of course, it was gonna be more intense. But now, as a grown man, I have a lot more control over my masturbation frequency. So, like, it's and I would also consider myself as not really being an addictive personality like that anymore. Our personalities evolve and they change and they grow over time. They say every 7 years, we become a new person almost. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if you have an addictive personality, you're gonna really fall victim to more than likely becoming addicted to masturbation. Especially if you don't have somebody to even, have sex with. So it gets even deeper and deeper from there, guys. But all right, I'm gonna go into the next symptom. And look, if y'all are liking the information that I'm talking about with these symptoms, go ahead and throw a like on this video right now. And look, subscribe if you're new to the channel. All right, gonna dig deep, man, because like I said, masturbation is okay. It's the addiction to it, and I know a lot of guys probably deal with this for a number of reasons. All right, and also I know a lot of the guys that contact me for boosting testosterone and becoming my client. A lot of these guys actually are overly masturbating. I'm gonna get into another symptom. Don't worry, we're gonna get there, and it's gonna connect full surface once we can connect all that because it makes total sense. This is why masturbation addiction is very bad for a man. I'm just keeping it 100, man. For us men, and what we're supposed to do, what our mission is, um, the addiction to masturbation can really get in the way of us being as successful as we want to be. All right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get into this next symptom that you, my brother, my fellow king, may be dealing with masturbation addiction. All right. The next one is going to be genital irritation and injury. All right. Genital irritation and injury. And I see your question. I see your comment, Tyrone. I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to just say this symptom real quick. Genital irritation or injury. If you notice that, if you notice like after you masturbate, you feel kind of raw, you know what I'm saying? You're going through these different changes, or there's some type of irritation, itching, irritation, whatever, or even injury, man. It's possible, believe it or not. When you're masturbating so frequently, the friction, the hand, especially if you're in the gym and you working out and you lifting, you know what I'm saying? I gotta make a light of the situation, you know what I'm saying? But like, especially if you're in the gym, and you're getting stronger, you're getting them strength gains, and you going in on your joint, yes, irritation will definitely come from that and possible injury if you're doing it highly frequently. You see what I'm saying? If you're doing it highly frequently. So it makes total sense that this would also be a symptom because what is that going to come from? What would injury and irritation come from? It's going to come from high frequency of masturbation, right? So it makes total sense. Let me check out a couple of y'all comments. I see some of y'all commenting right now in the chat. Tyrone Jackson, he said, in order to stabilize world population, it is necessary to eliminate 350,000 people a day. Yeah. Ooh, that was deep right there. That was heavy. He said, it is a horrible thing to say. He said, it's a horrible thing to say, but it's just as bad now. Or it's a horrible thing to say, but it's just as bad to not say it. Yo, that's deep. That's real deep and that's real powerful that you put that quote there because, yeah, it do make you think. It does make you think about population. Obviously, going back to sexual urges and our sexual urges, we have those sexual urges for pleasure, but the most important part is procreation. I mean, that's how every last one of us were born. You know what I'm saying? Whether we want to pay attention to that or think about it or not, you're alive right now simply because of sex, simply because your father has sexual urges and your mother has sexual urges. Uh, you know, there's a lot of other possible reasons and ways, that people obviously become conceived that may not be the best. But for the most part, that's where it comes from. It comes from those sexual urges. So that's why I want to make it clear and even put this out there and point this out to y'all. Sexual urges aren't bad. Like for me, you know, when I was younger, I built a very unhealthy relationship with sexual urges. I was connected to a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. And, a lot of us deal with this. Even men who masturbate frequently. That's one of the biggest symptoms, too. And I'm going to get into that. But I say all that to say this, guys, if you deal with that in any way, shape, or form, if you have shame or guilt, sexual urges are for a powerful and amazing reason. And it's really a part of just procreating, man, and us being alive on this earth. So every one of us are the product of sexual urges. So we never need to feel down or bad about that. All right. It's all good and it's normal. But yeah. If you notice that, going back to the symptom, guys, the main symptom, if you notice that you're dealing with irritation down there, or you've even had an injury from masturbating, man, it's more than likely that you are dealing with an addiction to masturbation, guys. And it's something to really think about and consider, man. We don't want to mess our manhood up, not our joints. You know what I'm saying? We want to keep that healthy, and we want to make sure that it is working very well and functioning, man. It's a part of our masculinity. It's really what makes us men. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the defining factors between a man and a woman. So if you're dealing with that, you probably deal with masturbation addiction. Don't worry. There's help and there's ways to get it over this. All right. All right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and go into the next one. And I see we got a couple comments. Sky High VZ. Oh, I think that's my man Vanel. What up? Salute to my man Vanel, man. What up? What up? He said, tapping in, Black Superman. Yo, what up, Vanel, man? Hey, salute to you, bro. I'm proud of you, man. I see what you're doing, man, with your podcast, man. That's lit. Keep grinding, man. Keep pushing. For sure. Definitely proud of you, man. All right, CC came back. He said unnecessary, or she or he. I'm not for sure if you were she or he, CC, but it's all love. Unnecessary, Tyrone. I feel where you're coming from. I feel where you're coming from. But everybody got the right to express and feel and say what they feel and have their own perspective. So it is what it is. As long as ain't nobody being disrespected, we good money. All right. So yeah, that symptom right there, that's a very clear one. And I mean, that should be enough to really wake people up. But see, when we have addictions and when we're dealing with an addiction, it's a whole different ball game. That's why addiction is such a problem, because when we get in that rotation and in that motion of addiction, we are losing control. All right. Growing up, I hate to put my mom business out there. I ain't gonna go too far into it, but I'm just gonna say I was around a lot of alcoholism, drug addiction, and things like that. And I'm telling you, it's just not somewhere where we want to be, especially my fellow men and my fellow kings, man. We want to be kings. We want to be kings out here. So we got to be level headed. We have to be on point. We got to be intact. We don't want to have anything having more power over us than we have over ourselves. We don't want to be so addicted to anything that it has more of a hand over our lives than we do, right? So this is why I'm putting this type of content out there, guys, because I'm trying to help and set my friend free, man. I mean, my friend, y'all, my friends and my men free. That's all it's about, man. It's all love in this, for sure. I wish I would have had somebody to talk to me like this. It's one of the main reasons why I do it, and I believe it's a calling, right? I believe God is calling me to do this, so that's why I do it. All right. Here's the next symptom, guys. Here's the next symptom that you may be dealing with masturbation addiction, right? Feeling shame or guilt after masturbation. Feeling shame or guilt after masturbation, right? Now, I was just talking about this a few minutes ago, right? I pretty much was saying how, like, I used to deal with a lot of shame and guilt with my sexual urges coming up in my adolescence. Just dealing with different things, experiencing different things in my life, which had me very confused when it came to sex or sexual, um, desires and sexual urges. There was a huge attachment of shame and guilt in there. And shame and guilt, man, that's some of the lowest vibrations that we can move in. All right. Shame and guilt is the lowest vibrations when it comes to the whole vibration scale, right? Shame is the lowest. And having those types of emotions connected to something like sexual urges, man, pretty much what makes us human, right? What makes you a man. It can cause a lot of issues. It's kind of like trying to bring darkness and light. Light will always overpower it, right? It's only when light isn't present anymore, that's when darkness is in control. And I truly believe that that's the darkness. That's the darkness. It's those little pieces of things that can taint powerful natural things that are of light. We look at sex in one fashion where it's like, okay, sex brings people into this world, right? It's a part of conception, it's a part of us being born and created, right? But then we got shame and guilt attached to sex. What can that cause? I'm gonna tell y'all right now some of the specific things that I've dealt with in my younger years in terms of my sexuality was shame and guilt, which made it very difficult for me to even express my sexuality or even enjoy it. You know, I put a lot of content out there, guys, about boosting testosterone. I also talk about having low testosterone and dealing with low testosterone as an adolescent. For my research and from me even digging deeper into my adolescent years, I remember when I went to a doctor, right? And I went to the doctor because I'm like, yo, why am I dealing with erectile dysfunction? I'm only 17 years old. Like, there's no reason why I should be dealing with that. So I remember going to the doctor, and I went to the doctor. I said, look, man, I'm having trouble with my joint getting hard, right? And pretty much I said, look, I want you to test my testosterone levels. I was like, please, can you test my testosterone levels? I think I may be dealing with low testosterone. The doctor looked at me and he was like, look, he's like, look, kid, you're not dealing with testosterone, low testosterone. I could look at you and tell. He's like, I can tell and how you moving in your energy, you're not dealing with that. So he tested my testosterone levels. And after he tested my testosterone levels, he brought the stuff back and he said, listen, Kevin, you have an amazing testosterone level. He said, the reason why you're dealing with erectile dysfunction is not because you have low testosterone. It's in your mind. So I was like, all right, bet. Well, if it's in my mind, give me some Viagra or something so I can see if it'll work. And just to make that story short, this long story, I'm gonna just make it real short, real quick. He gave me the Viagra, and it wasn't Viagra, guys. He gave me a sugar pill, and he was doing that to save me. And I'm so glad he gave me a sugar pill because it didn't even work. The point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is if we have shame and a guilt attached to sex, our sexual urges, or want to explore our sexuality, it's going to be hard for us to really triumph in that area. And if you young watching me and you dealing with these sexual issues, I'm telling you right now, it's more than likely because of either masturbation addiction or watching porn and masturbating and being addicted to that, or having some of these negative feelings attached to your sexual urges or your sex drive. You feel me? That's probably what you're dealing with more than likely. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're young, you probably ain't dealing with low T levels. Still go get checked because there are in rare cases men that deal with that, young men that deal with that. As I dig deeper and I start to heal and understand myself better, I realized that the reason why I was dealing with sex issues is because of the traumas I went through with sex in my younger years, in my adolescent years. So, in a nutshell, masturbation addiction can also be very highly traumatic. And I believe that was a part of my trauma sexually because I was definitely addicted to masturbation. I was definitely resorting to masturbation to try to help me with all the stress and the emotional difficulty and discomfort I was dealing with, the traumas I was dealing with in the household, it being domestic violence and fighting and shooting and getting mom getting shot at and me pulling her in the house. It's a number of things that I could tell y'all. Go check out some of my older videos on last season, the last season of Virility Kings podcast. I dig deep and I give a lot of information on what I was experiencing. But these things can affect your sexual uh prowess and your sex drive, right? And it's something to think about. It may not even now, it may not be that you have low sex drive or low testosterone. It may just be that you may be attaching certain emotions that are not high vibration, and that's why you ain't vibrating high sexually. You understand? So this is why masturbation addiction is very, very serious and something to really, really think about and get in control of if you think you might be dealing with it. If you deal with shame and guilt after you masturbate, that is a high sign of masturbation addiction because there's a lot of guilt and shame to it. There's reasons why you may feel guilty and shameful. You may even be subconsciously, you're probably aware of all the other things that's happening in your life because of the masturbation. Or you may be aware of the connections of when you were younger, and you was masturbating in secret. You understand? And you ain't want nobody to know, obviously. You ain't want your mom to know. You ain't want, shoot. If you had siblings, you probably ain't want them to know either for a while. Of course, it's a very individual, personal thing. But that's where the guilt comes into play. That's where the shame comes into play with masturbation. And that's where the low vibration come into play with your sexual health and sexuality as a man and moving in virility. All right. So getting a hold and getting control of this possible masturbation addiction that you may be dealing with can change your entire life. And you'll probably notice a whole bunch of freedoms in every aspect of your life. And it's just going to improve. You're going to notice your sex drive is going to increase tremendously. You're going to notice that you got more energy. It's a number of things. But I'm going to get into this next one real quick, guys. This next symptom that you may be dealing with masturbation addiction is going to be lethargy and tiredness when going to work or going to school. Now, I heavily went through this shit when I was a kid. Man, I went through this shit when I say I went through this heavily when I was a kid, because, I would do my thing at night. You know what I'm saying? I would beat off at night and it'd be late. And I'm sitting here watching, got the TV on, watching little sex scenes and stuff in little movies and VHS cassettes. Don't none of y'all judge me, man. I know y'all can relate. A lot of y'all dudes watching me right now can relate. I remember watching, like little sex scenes in movies and shit, like, getting off. And sometimes I'd be up mad late doing that. And, now it's time to go to school. On top of that, was also dealing with obviously the domestic violence and stuff while in my household when I was growing up. So that was enough. That was already enough anyway. I would feel super lethargic and super tired going to school. You know what I'm saying? I ain't want to wait. I ain't want to get up and go to school. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, it was pretty deep. And I'm gonna tell y'all something that's even more deeper real quick. Today this is one of the reasons why I did this video. I'm gonna tell y'all why I did this video, because today I believe that God revealed something powerful to me about my entire life. And what I realized, and some of y'all might even be able to relate to this, but what I realized is that I've been recreating the worst time period in my life in my adolescent years, in my teenage years, when I was going through the most trauma, issues in the household, and a number of things. And masturbation addiction was one of those things that was involved in that trauma, involved in that actual scenario and the things that I was going through in the moment. You feel me? Fidel said BET Uncut Facts. Hell yeah. Yo, listen, yeah. Especially if you wake up in the middle of the night, wake up just in time and leave BET on. You already know Uncut gonna flop right on. But I was going through, I realized that I have been recreating these things that I had been going through. And it was one of the most traumatic times of my life in my adolescence years. It was when the domestic violence was the highest. It was when, um, I ain't gonna get too personal, but it was just a lot of stuff going on. And I look at my life now, and I look at my relationships, and I look at the people that I connect with. I look at the women that I've chosen. I look at the women that I chose to be in close and in long-term relationships with. And I look at the women that I didn't even, you know, embrace fully and hold on to. And it's like, oh, it makes sense. I literally chose the women that could help me further perpetuate and recreate what was familiar to me in that traumatic moment. And guys, I'm telling you, this speaks volumes. All right. I know some of this might be going over some of y'all head. All I ask is that, yo, just pray for understanding if it's kind of hard for you to really get what I'm saying right now. But the biggest thing that I could say is, and I'm probably gonna go into detail about this on VKP Gems. I'll be doing another episode on the podcast with that too. But the crazy thing, the deepest thing about it is I realized that I had been recreating my most traumatic moment in my life. It was when I was trying to fix everything in the household. It was when I thought that I was supposed to help my mom with her issues and also fix the problem that her and her boyfriend was having that was causing us so much distress and agony. So I literally took that responsibility on myself. You understand? I took that responsibility on myself. And it just reminds me of how like I've been literally doing that with the two main women that I chose to be in long-term relationships with. The women that I impregnated, the women that I chose to be in these long-term relationships with. And I'm like, man, I literally have been recreating the same thing and the same dynamic that I went through as a kid in that house. And a lot of us end up doing this, guys. And the reason why we do it is simply because it's familiar to us. And when you mix the masturbation addiction into that, and when you start mixing all these other things into that, it makes it even more in depth. It makes it even more intense. I'm about to have a serious vulnerable moment with y'all right now and tell y'all some shit right now. I masturbated last night. You know what I'm saying? I masturbated last night. And that's when it hit me. That's literally when I woke up and it hit me. And I was like, I just felt this feeling of like despair and hopelessness. And it was like a quick pingent of it, like real quick. I just feeling like discouraged out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck? I've felt that numerous times. And that's when it hit me. And, you know, that's when I prayed. I'm like, yo, God, help me understand where this is coming from. And that's when it all started to connect. All the dots just started to connect. I used to masturbate a lot during that moment. And I really was doing it, I believe, because I was looking for an outlet and a way to escape from all of the issues I was going through in the house. So a lot of the times we end up taking on these types of things: masturbation addiction, drug addiction, alcohol, promiscuity, a number of things at a young age, simply because we're trying to find a way to escape the issues and the problems that we may be going through at home. You understand? And that was something that I really was doing that was major and big as hell. You understand? Um, so in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to point out to y'all guys is, if you're dealing with that right now, if you're dealing with masturbation addiction right now, it's time for you to really understand and really identify and figure out what is it that you're trying to recreate right now in your life. Why are you resorting to masturbation so much? And why is it such a vice if you deal with the addiction and you can relate to these symptoms I'm speaking right now? Because once you can figure that thing out, this will probably set you free from your masturbation addiction. And then you'll probably gain clarity in other areas of your life where you may be failing. See, it hit me so hard today, man. It hit me so hard today. It really woke me up in such a way where I was like, you know what? That's why. That's why I'm doing these things that I'm doing. That's why I chose the women that I chose to impregnate, and all these other women that I actually was talking to or just kicking it with or just smashing. Um, I ain't take it serious and I ain't choosing, because guess what? They didn't have enough problems for me to fix. You understand? The shit is deep, real deep. All right. I see some comments over here, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and check. Said Ryan of Line. He said, you became a fixer upper of others, not worrying about your own problems. Now, facts. Facts, Ryan. Facts. I definitely became that individual. And I think the reason why I became that individual is because my mom would respond as if that was good. You know what I'm saying? So I received validation in that. I received validation in that, and obviously that wasn't right. Um, but I already was wanting validation anyway, so it just worked. It just fit in perfectly. And I guess once I started receiving the validation to a certain degree, and then it just got to a point where she just wasn't validating it at all, and she wasn't taking my advice, that's where resentment came into play. So just going through all these types of emotional things, guys, it ties into the masturbation addiction, guys, because I'm trying to tell y'all, if you are dealing with masturbation addiction, you're probably recreating your childhood. All right, this is the best way I could put it. If you deal with masturbation addiction right now as an adult, right, and you were dealing with it when you were younger, it's time to really dig deep and look deep into yourself and become more aware. I don't know if you believe in God or not, but if you do, I highly suggest that you pray that He reveal it to you, and He will, right? I promise you He will, because He revealed it to me. You understand? And I don't see why he would do it for me, but He won't do it for you. I don't see that. I don't believe that. So it's time to really dig deep. Put two and two together. Start really thinking about your upbringing and how you were brought up. Start thinking about the issues you may have been experiencing as a kid. I know everybody don't go through the traumas that I went through. I know a lot of y'all probably grew up with your mother and your father. I know a lot of y'all probably didn't have to even deal with a lot of worry in a household with domestic violence or not knowing where your mom is going or if she's coming back or any of that type of stuff, right? But the big thing that I'm just trying to point out to y'all, man, is if you are dealing with masturbation addiction right now, it's deeper than what you may think. It's not just you just saying, "Oh, I enjoy busting a nut." Nah, we all enjoy that. But the spirit of addiction is attacking you for a deeper reason. It's a demon that you got to face. You understand? And it's a part of life, and it's a part of us being men. So don't be afraid of that. I used to be afraid of that, yo. Whenever I would hear people say things like that, yeah, I'm facing my demons, or you hear rappers talking about their demons, like, yo, I'm facing my demons. I ain't gonna lie, that shit used to scare the fuck out of me, man. It really used to have me shook because, my mom, I think so literal, and I used to think so literal. So I'm literally thinking like, yo, they mean really like facing literal spiritual demons like within themselves. Until I really realized and I grew and I had no other choice but to face mine, and I started facing them, and I'm like, wow. Yeah, they ain't got nothing. It's nothing to be afraid of. Now, when you got the Almighty, Most High God on your side. So, listen, these symptoms is real, man. I'm gonna go ahead and read another symptom real quick, just to see if y'all ready for that one. I see I still got some of y'all in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next one and get to that next one. Hold on 1 second, y'all. 1 second, y'all. I'm coming right back. Matter of fact, I'll keep talking while I do this. But so yeah, pretty much the next symptom, guys. I gotta turn this off, y'all. The next symptom is gonna be you can't stop masturbating for a week. You can't stop masturbating for a week. You can't stop masturbating for a week. You can't, no matter what you do, man, you try. You try multiple times and you just can't stop masturbating for a week. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you can't do that, you're addicted. Like there ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no debate. There's no nothing. I could tell you right now, I know for a fact that you're addicted. And I want you to know that I'm not judging you. There's nothing wrong with it. Self-awareness is key. Awareness is one of the greatest gifts that we have on this earth, man. I'm telling you. Awareness is one of the greatest and most powerful gifts that I believe God give us on this earth, man. Once you start to become aware of you, of yourself, of your surroundings, you become more powerful, empowered, and you have more control over your life and what you do. All right. So if I'm speaking on these different symptoms and y'all like, man, I relate to all these. Even all right, even if you relate to like 3 or 4 of them that I said, 3 of them, you still more than likely are dealing with a masturbation addiction. And I'm here to tell you that, listen, now you're aware, now you understand what's going on, and that gives you a great power, a power to make a powerful change. Now you're empowered because now you understand what's going on with you potentially, and you can do something about it. All right. That's all I want to put out there and I want to put that energy out there. You can do something about this. But if you can't stop for a week, man, I'm telling you, you deal with it. Now, I've done some videos similar to this before, and I've gotten a couple comments from some guys where they like, well, like when I kind of talk about not overdoing masturbation, right? And I'll get some stuff from guys, and they like, look, you married, man. It's easy for you to say, oh, don't masturbate too much or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, marriage ain't got nothing to do with it. Marriage don't have shit to do with what I'm doing for myself. You understand? And what I do for me. Um, you having a girlfriend or you being married, it ain't got nothing to do. Separate that. Separate what you got to do for yourself and what you have to do for your own development and growth away from who you with. Unless you're trying to choose somebody and you want to make sure you choose somebody who's going to be in tune with that, right? Being married, listen, just because you're married, it don't mean you just going to be you fucking all the time, just, having sex all the time. It doesn't work like that. You understand? Especially when you got kids. You got to maneuver. You got to do what you got to do. Depends on your life. Depends on your work life. Depends on your passion. Depends on what you got going on. It honestly depends on your actual relationship with your wife as well, and where y'all stand and how healthy your relationship is as well. So just because somebody got a wife or they married or got a girl, don't mean like, oh, okay, I'm straight. I ain't got to ever masturbate again. It don't work like that, right? It's just not reality. Look, I'm sweating, y'all. Look, I'm preaching. I'm holding the mic today, man. Y'all see, I'm holding the mic today. I might spit some bars for y'all. I got the mic in my hand. You feel me? But anyway, so yeah, don't let that deceive you. But listen, I don't care if you got a wife. I don't care if you got two wives. You should be able to go a week without masturbating. I don't care who you are. And if you can't do it, you're more than likely dealing with a masturbation addiction, and it's fine. It's just time to do something about it. All right. That's it. It's time to do something about it. Okay. We got another comment on here. My man Ryan of Line. He said, I think that Carl Jung and Feud can have a major help with you because they're psychologists that believe a lot of our psychological problems come from a sexual root cause in some way. A lot of it does have to do with the mother. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Sigmund Freud, he actually, a lot of his theories and a lot of his psychological approaches were based on sex. And, I do think that there's a lot of correlations. Some of the things that Sigmund believed, I'm gonna be honest, it seemed a little sick, but I'm not gonna lie, I do think that it do make a bit of sense in some of the approaches or the correlations that he was making, especially from kids to their parents and things like that, and the connections and the relations. That make a lot of sense. But yeah, I agree with that, man. Yeah, I'm gonna actually look them up too, just to see what they're talking about, because yeah, I do think that there's a high correlation to sex. Here's one thing real quick that I want to state. If sex has something to do with us actually being alive and being born, it's going to correlate to a lot of other things as well. You know what I'm saying? It's just common sense. You know what I'm saying? I think that the world that we living in and the society that's starting to develop, and the more and more that things are getting digital, we're stepping away from the origin and the truth of everything, yo. You know, and that's why I do what I do now, because I just want to be that one of those people that's still trying to stick to the truth and the light that's been present here before all this stuff that's about to happen. The metaverse and everything, they're trying to make everything virtual. Like, listen, guys, we don't want to lose track of what we already have and what we're already blessed with, especially our surroundings, the earth, the trees, the sun, the moon, the stars, the ocean, the depths, mountains, volcanoes. You understand? Like the earth, being able to travel around the world, natural springs. Like, look, we don't want to lose track of who we are and our power and what we have access to and what's available to us, man. So that's something that we really need to keep in our mind. We need to stay woke, man, and understand what's going on here. Um, because a lot of things is pushing away from the origin and the pretty much our power, man, the things that really make us powerful. So I know that was kind of a lot to to respond from that comment, but I agree too. I think there are a lot of sexual relationships, but sex is obviously very important. I mean, it's the reason why all of us are alive. None of y'all watching me right now would even be alive if your dad ain't had no sexual urges or your mom ain't had no sexual urges. And I want to point that out just to say this is why we shouldn't have any shame or guilt connected to sexual urges or sex drive or anything like that. You know, it's normal. It's normal. It's a part of life. So yeah, man, like I said, if you can't, like I said, if you can't stop for a week, then you're more than likely dealing with masturbation addiction. And it's time to do something about it. It's time to do something about it. Listen, if any of you guys can relate to the information that I put on here, any of the symptoms on here that I put on here, don't worry, guys. I'm going to be doing another video tomorrow giving you ways to overcome masturbation addiction. All right. Specific, powerful, proven ways that could really help you overcome addiction. So if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on that video tomorrow. And if you miss it tomorrow, you could just, watch it afterwards of the replay. Now, listen, I want y'all to also throw a like on here as well. And yeah. Comment below, man. If y'all got any questions or anything, if anything touched you in a certain way, or if you could relate and you're excited about that video tomorrow, just let me know. All right. Salute to all y'all, man. I want to tell y'all I appreciate y'all for watching. All the supporters that rock with me. Yo, y'all see this pullover I got on right here? Yo, y'all can get that at Superhuman Labs. I'm sorry, y'all, not Superhuman Labs. FastTrainHill.com. Once again, that's FastTrainHill.com. This joint is lit. I love it. I like working out in it too because it really helps me sweat. Yeah, it's dope. It's lit, man. Y'all see that logo? And we got more stuff coming as well, man. Support the brand, support the movement. Superhuman Apparel, Superhuman Fast Train Hill. That's the empire. Salute to all y'all, man. Thank y'all for watching.